Number 11. Jet Ski Selfie. On August 17, 2019, in Langkawi, Malaysia, a teenager died while trying to capture the ultimate picture. The victim was 17-year-old Al-Shabibi Ibrahim Manuir. He was at Senang Beach with friends when he made the decision to attempt a selfie while riding a jet ski. He figured the selfie would look a lot cooler if he wasn't wearing a life jacket, so he slipped it off and sped off across the choppy water. First of all, you never take your life jacket off, especially when messing around with the strong currents of the ocean. His friends and the other beachgoers watched in horror as a strong wave came over Al-Shabibi. The teen was knocked off the jet ski and swallowed by the sea. There was nothing anyone could do. He was knocked unconscious by the powerful wave and drowned without his life jacket. His lifeless body floated to the surface minutes later. Number 10. Bears don't like pictures. Prabhu Bhattara had a great weekend attending his friend's wedding. He was driving home when nature called and he pulled over on the side of the road. He jumped out of the SUV and proceeded to find a bush to use as a toilet. That's when he spotted a bear. The other people he was traveling with told him to leave the animal alone, but Bhattara said the bear looked like it was injured and in no position to try and hurt him. He got closer with the intent to take a selfie with the bear in the background, but the bear was in no mood for pictures. It turned to Bhattara and attacked. We are 100% sure that he regrets his decision, but sadly, he's not around to tell us. A stray dog saw the commotion, bless his soul, and tried to fight the bear off, but was unable to save the man. The bear mauled him to death. Forest officials had to tranquilize the bear just to get the body, at least what was left of it. Number 9. Doing it for the gram. Madeline Davis, the doomed Instagram model, met her death after she left a house party in search of a selfie hotspot. She had her whole life in front of her. She was a 21-year-old backpacking across the world taking beautiful pictures. Davis was in Sydney, Australia in January of 2021 when she allegedly fell 200 feet or just over 60 meters to her death after posing for a sunset selfie on the edge of a cliff. Allegedly, she was heavily intoxicated when the incident occurred. She had multiple cocktails and reportedly took drugs earlier in the day. She climbed over a fence to get to the dangerous spot, and her body was later found about 55 feet or just under 17 meters below the ocean's surface, wedged in a rock shelf. After she fell from the cliff, one of the men who accompanied Davis that night was there to witness the Instagram model's walk to her own death, exclaiming, "She's gone." According to the toxicology report, it was found that Madeline Davis had ingested cocaine, ketamine, and MDMA before plunging to her death. Taking drugs is never a good idea. Taking drugs, hopping a fence, and posing for selfies on a cliff proved to be the worst idea Davis ever had. Number 8. Volcano Selfie. In this era of experiential travel and the desire to take extreme selfies, travelers are taking dangerous risks that do not equate to the number of Instagram followers they might gain in the process. However impressive a selfie with the backdrop of a smoking volcano is, it's not worth the risk. Sadly, a 21-year-old man from Yogyakarta, Indonesia, didn't realize this. He fell into the blazing crater of Mount Merapi while attempting to take a selfie and died. Hey, real quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. What's the most dangerous selfie you've taken? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 7. Selfie Game. A popular trend that goes by the name Selfie Game has claimed the life of young Oscar Reyes. The Selfie Game is an attempt to take the most extreme selfie or self-taken pictures possible. There is no actual winner nor central authority that determines the winner, but rather the game is played simply for attention on social media. In 2014, Reyes snapped a photo of himself in a SpongeBob costume and uploaded it to Facebook. The photo generated over 200 likes. Friends of Oscar say that the amount of likes motivated him to try and snap another picture he described to friends as crazy AF. Investigators say he was in his mother's restroom around 2 a.m., hanging from the door when he fell off the door and hit his head. We aren't sure why he thought this photo in particular was awesome, but he did. The injury caused excessive bleeding and he died moments later. Again, there is no winner in the selfie game. Number 6. Aiming. The first rule about gun safety is not to point the gun at anyone, including yourself. 19-year-old father of two DeLeon Smith was found dead in Houston, Texas, after accidentally shooting himself in the throat while trying to take a selfie. Police say Smith was posing photos to Instagram with his cousin when the gun went off. For whatever reason, Smith thought it would be a good idea to take a photo with the gun pointed at his head. But the gun went off. His uncle, who lives on the same block and heard the noise, rushed to the house, but Smith was dead by the time he arrived. Both the police and Smith's family believe the shooting was completely accidental, but they're still investigating who actually owned the gun Smith was using. Number 5. Waterfall. When you hike to a beautiful waterfall, of course you want to take a picture. A Brazilian man recently took the plunge of a lifetime. 22-year-old Guilherme Chiapetti was at Cachoeira de Onça. 22-year-old Guilherme Giappetti was at Cachoeira de Onça in South Brazil when he fell 32 feet or just under 10 meters down the face of a waterfall. 32 feet or about 10 meters isn't extremely that far of a drop, except he landed on sharp rocks. According to local media, the man suffered traumatic brain injuries and died shortly after in the hospital. Chiappetti was no stranger to the waterfall. In fact, his father told local media that his son actually went there quite often to partake in photography sessions with his friends. But this would be a photo session like no other. The edge was a little bit more slippery that day, even for someone as experienced as Chiappetti. Number 4. On the edge. Andrea Norton was a 20-year-old college student from Hot Springs, North Dakota. She was a junior attending Briarcliff University studying environmental science. One Sunday morning, she went on a class trip to the Ozarks with her fellow students. Together, they embarked on a journey to Arkansas's Ozark National Forest. Everyone was having a good time, enjoying each other's company and taking in the fresh air and the beautiful views. Andrea decided she needed a selfie to memorialize the trip. There was a cliff she believed to be the perfect spot. Trees and mountains in the background. It was going to be the ultimate selfie. Except she would never get to post it. She stood at the edge of a cliff, posed for her selfie, and then tumbled 100 feet or about 30 meters to her death. Andrea died instantly upon hitting the ground. According to eyewitnesses, Andrea had repositioned herself to get precariously close to the edge just before she lost her footing and plummeted to the hard ground below. This is being called one of the most tragic selfie-related deaths in history, as she was so young and had her whole life ahead of her. And yet, one wrong foot and a blind desire to capture a dramatic photo resulted in her demise and endless mourning for her family. Number 3. Selfie Pusher. In a shocking twist, a man taking a selfie in India accidentally knocks somebody else into a raging river, causing her to die. Not only are people accidentally dying from taking selfies, but now they're killing others. The tragic incident went down on January 3rd. Nirupama Prajapti was trying to get a selfie of herself at the edge of the angry river when a stumbling man, trying to do the same thing, lost his footing and knocked the girl over the edge. Witnesses reported that they could hear the girl scream as she plunged into the roaring waters below. The poor girl vanished beneath the gushing foam, and her body wasn't found until 22 hours later, when rescue workers pulled it out of a crevasse 1,500 feet or just under 500 meters farther down the river. So as far as we know, there has been no legal action taken against the man who pushed the girl to her death. It was obviously an accident, but it was still his fault. Maybe next time, he'll look twice before shoving into a crowd with his phone in the air. Number 2. Killed by a wave. There is a place called the Devil's Tear Cove on Nusa Lambangan Island in Bali. The area is known for its gorgeous cliffside coastline, but it's also extremely dangerous. The waves here are deadly and have been known to swipe tourists off the sides of cliffs and whisk them away to watery graves. And that's exactly what happened to this 22-year-old tourist from China as she was trying to take a selfie. She was standing at the edge of the cliff, posing to take her picture with the raging waters below. What she hadn't expected to happen was for a giant wave to rear out of the ocean and grab hold of her. The wave was so powerful that it knocked her into the water and swept her away. By the time a boat finally reached her body, she was already dead. But this could have been avoidable. The local government here is aware of just how dangerous the waves are to foolish tourists who are normally half drunk and stumbling across the rocks to take photos. They even put a fence up around the area to protect everyone. But this woman, just like many other tourists, climbed over the fence to get the perfect selfie. Her perfect selfie resulted in the 5 worst minutes of her life as she drowned. Number 1. Smiling death. This last entry isn't a death caused by someone trying to take a selfie, but rather a disturbing selfie taken at the scene of other people's deaths. An onset of sudden fog was responsible for a horrifying accident at the Anhui Expressway in China that resulted in 18 people being killed and 21 others being injured. At least 30 vehicles were involved in the devastating pileup. And while the accident in itself was terrible and dramatic, one reporter treated it a bit too lightly. This reporter took a happy selfie, smiling and holding her fingers up in the peace symbol in front of the burned out cars where people died, resulting in significant backlash on social media. People from the local area were particularly angry at the reporter's blatant lack of respect. One of the locals reposted her pictures with the caption, "At 7:45 on the morning of the 15th, 30 vehicles collided, leaving 18 people dead and 21 wounded. Yet this Fuyang radio presenter poses at the scene of the crash with a man in uniform grinning from ear to ear. Don't you have a conscience? Don't you have any personal integrity in your work?" But what made the incident even worse is that she actually held up her employee badge for the selfie, giving herself away to the world. She worked for the Fuyang Yingshan Traffic Radio as a presenter, though it's doubtful she'll ever have her job after this little stunt. This is not the first time a smiling photo at the scene of a serious accident went viral either. A local Shaanxi official made headlines in 2012 when he was photographed laughing at the scene of a traffic collision that left 36 people dead. The photo of the quote smiling official instigated a search with people online exploring his background and identity. He was eventually exposed as a corrupt official. Not only can taking selfies in the wrong place wind up killing you, but taking selfies in inappropriate situations can lead to another horrible situation. Thanks for watching. Do you have any close call ultimate selfies? Do you think you'll ever risk your life for a picture again? Let us know about it in the comments, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and come back soon for another wild video. See you next time on the Bad Badger.